yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
And welcome to episode 130. Thank you for joining us as always on this bone-chilling Wednesday evening, Earth date October 25th, 2017. I'm your host, Gripping Tongue Hitchcock, and with me as always is my ghastly co-host, Burr Full. How you doing, Burr?
I'm doing great. That was A+ intro. Like, it borderlined on creepy in like a weird way.
Yeah.
But it didn't go over it.
Well, I'm glad.
I liked it.
My voice is really hoarse now.
Yeah, you pretty much kind
of blew it out there.
Yeah, you blew it out there right at the beginning.
Yeah. So
this is going to be a 15-minute podcast.
This is going to be Brandon talking for 45 minutes about nothing.
So it really won't be any different than most podcasts.
That's right. So, if anybody is curious, we have a soundboard.
Yeah.
A spooky soundboard.
For the spooky tales that we're going to tell in this episode.
That's right.
So do you have any spooky things you've been doing this week, Remington? I'm just going to add spooky as a qualifier to just about everything I spookily say.
Right.
Because it's Halloween coming up.
Coming up soon is the Halloween.
Coming up spoon.
I have been thinking for several weeks that I need to put up Halloween decorations. We have a ton of them downstairs, and I just haven't had the time and haven't prioritized it.
Are you going to do it at this point?
At this point, there's 5 days left. No, probably not.
Yeah, there's really no reason to.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have put them up on October 1st, then maybe I would have, gotten the full use out of them. But as it stands, just a failure at decorating.
I feel like if it's not Christmas, there's really not a whole lot of a need to decorate, though.
I mean, a lot of people really like to decorate for Halloween, though.
Do you typically decorate for Halloween, though? I don't remember you ever really, having spooky tinsel and spooky bats and spooky Halloween trees.
I think Ginger really likes to decorate more than I do. Or at least she likes the idea of decorating for the holiday. But, I'm not a huge decoration person anyway.
You're just not a huge anything that's enjoyable.
Enjoyable or fun.
Happiness to most people, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Decorations. You're just you're this curmudgeonly old man, just God, I got a whole basement full of decorations.
If I put them up, I'm just going to have to take them back down. What's the point?
It's a circle of life, and I hate it. I hate every second of it.
If it's not different every year, then I don't want to do it.
So what are you going to dress up as?
I'm 33 years old, Brandon. I don't dress up for anything.
The only reason to dress up for Halloween anymore is when you're going to a party.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody invites me to parties.
Well, because really, what would you do? You just dress up in a costume and sit around your house editing the podcast?
Yeah.
Just dressed as a fucking gross-ass vampire?
Yeah.
That was a little harsh. I'm sorry.
You'd
just be a gross vampire.
Why would I be gross?
I mean, come on.
What?
You're already kind of gross, and then you couldn't see your reflection?
I am the cleanest fat person you know.
I'm not talking about cleanliness. I'm just talking about general ambiance.
Do I put off a gross vibe to you? Is that what it is?
I would say more pervert.
Okay.
But actually, I need to dial that back because I feel like perverted vampire kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Exactly. See, so I'm fitting the mold.
Would you say there are non-perverted
vampires? I
vampires?
want to suck your blood. But sexily.
Delicious.
Oh, so good. It's like a fine wine.
Vampires are perverted, right? Just by their very nature.
They tend to be portrayed as womanizers, yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think it was a marketing campaign.
By Big Vampire?
By Big Vampire. Yeah.
I know what will really make it great this year.
Yeah.
All over the place with the vampire accent.
Yeah, I don't even know. Was that Transylvanian or?
We as a German vampires. That's all I can really do at this point.
That's the German vampires. We want to suck your blood.
I love the idea of German vampires now, and that's all I'm going to be able to think about the rest of this episode.
They just sound so angry all the time.
Welcome to our castle.
Have you ever?
I hope you like the cape.
Good dog.
Watch me turn into a bat. It's so Fluggenmaus.
Oh, all the Germans listening are just like, fuck you guys.
Ich bin ein Fluggenmaus.
Yeah.
That's my German.
It's really good.
So are we doing anything this episode, or are we just doing this?
I don't know. You were like...
I was like that.
That's how he was. First, you came at me with... What was the actual thing you were wanting to do?
Vampires.
Oh, yeah, vampires. Because the first one we did was witches. The first Halloween episode way back in 2014.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
So we must have missed 2015.
Yeah. And then 2016 was... Well, we might not have missed it. We might have... or I might not have it up on the website yet.
Oh, okay.
Because there are a lot of episodes that still need to be moved from Libsyn over to the WordPress.
Okay.
And I just haven't done it. So it's kind of a tedious prospect.
I think there was a year where I just did random monsters.
Maybe.
I just talked about random monsters because that's what I was looking for this episode, was just some random monsters to kind of throw out.
Right.
And I think I found the exact website I used in 2015 because I started reading them and saw one called Black Anise and was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it all came back to me that I think I've talked about these before.
I got you. Are you just pushing that one because it's the only one that you remember what it does?
No.
What I love best is I hope that the creak in the chair as you bend over to touch it.
All right. If you're listening,
anyway, so
I'm going to abuse the shit out of this soundboard. I'm sorry if it's annoying. I am going to dial back spooky because later on in the episode, I did a couple interviews with people who had legitimate ghost stories.
Yeah.
And I really hammered the word spooky.
Okay.
So I'm going to just put it out on the table. I love the word spooky. I think it's hilarious. And I think in terms of Halloween, saying things are spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky stories, spooky tales.
Spooky.
It's all spooky.
Yeah. So going back to the episodes, we had the witch episode, and then whatever the missing one is, and then a werewolf episode. And now I thought we were going to do vampires, and then like last minute, you were like, I don't want to do vampires. Let's do something else. It's like, okay.
Well, because vampires are boring. I don't give a shit about vampires.
I love vampires.
They're like whatever.
They're
Werewolves,
like my favorite.
So then I thought I was going to do.
Favorite.
I was
like
going to do
werewolves
mummies.
First. Yeah.
But the mummies are real. So how much mummy stories am I going to
have? Coin.
Is that a World of Warcraft thing?
No, that's a Scooby-Doo thing.
Scooby-Doo is certainly spooky.
Yeah, exactly. See?
So what I did is I have a medley of different stories.
Okay, I have a couple of spooky stories that I looked up too.
So that's
and I think that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I decided on is we're just going to read spooky stories. Now that probably doesn't sound exciting, and there's a good chance it won't be.
Yeah.
But stick with us because by God, we're here and you should be too.
That's right. And hopefully I'll have some really good bed music that'll run throughout the entire podcast. And, it'll make it a little more bearable to listen to.
So go somewhere that frightens you, throw on some headphones, turn down the lights, and get ready to be spooked.
I mean, you could have, like, the one right next to it is the... There you go. Just pushing buttons now, aren't you?
So do you want to go ahead and start off with a story, Rem?
Sure.
Or do you want me to start?
Yeah, no, I can start.
No! No! No!
Let's start off with a real short one.
Okay.
So I was looking online for random things, and this was I didn't actually get the site name, but last year they had people submit stories, like real life tales of spooky things that has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you don't have a spooky story yourself,
I
right?
don't. I don't really have anything. I'm a pragmatist and a realist to a point of fault.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever something that somebody else might say, oh, this was clearly out of the realm of normal or supernatural in origin, I say I can explain that away
Yeah.
with basic science. So you're dumb.
You were sleepy. It was pareidolia. It was a reflection.
Yeah. Yeah. All very simple things. It was a lens flare. It was a light flash. There was a strap hanging over the lens. I mean, all of these things are... Yeah, that's not a floating orb. That's your finger in the fucking frame.
I have a hard time with orbs, especially because it's like dust.
Yeah.
A lot of times we saw orbs in this old abandoned building. You mean this old abandoned dusty building?
Yeah.
Where you're using a flash photography as people are moving around and dragging cords and shit?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it's not an orb. It's just dust.
Yeah, get out of here.
Because nobody has been in there for 10 years and you're the first people in here. It's not like they have a housekeeper that comes through. Oh, I'm just going to clean this, Mr. Peter. You know, it doesn't know.
And I talked about on the Voynich manuscript episode a few episodes back, I like believing in this stuff.
Right.
And I don't really believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation so many fucking times on this podcast, but I feel like we can reiterate it because it's Halloween and that's spooky. Repetition is spooky.
Ooh.
Going back to the same well.
Quick, push a button. This isn't going to get old.
I like you put like 12 of these on here.
You only played like 4.
I wasn't planning on pushing that same one until you said it. I definitely will vary it because I don't want to get old.
Right.
But yeah, so anyway, I like believing in this stuff to a point because it's fun, but it's hard for me to because I have that rational part of my brain that says it's probably just dust. It's probably a reflection. The ghost story, you saw something. There's a ghost story that you're going to hear later on where I interviewed my girlfriend's daughter, who's 12.
Right.
And she had a story about seeing a ghost. And it was something that really stuck with her, but she saw the ghost. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. She'd just woken up. That can be explained by you're just still tired. Maybe you dreamt it, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I asked her that, and she's very strongly felt like, no, I was awake. I was cognizant. I looked at the clock, I remember.
Right.
So there's that part of me where I'm torn because, like I said, I want to believe, but the logic part of me says stop being so fanciful.
Right, yeah.
That could be like we could make our own spooky noises too. That's a ghost vaping. I'm a douche.
So I'm
a douche.
So like I said, my story starts off with yeah, it's really long. I got these stories off of a website that had submitted stories, and then they picked out some of the more spooky ones and made them the winners. So this one is called My Baby by Seven Hells. The V is spelled with a 7, an actual 7. So it's like 7 Hells.
Okay.
It's like that movie 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now you're getting it.
So Kevin Spacey wrote this story?
Yes, I will preface this with the fact that unnatural movements freak me out a lot.
This is the story now,
This
right?
is the story, yes.
Okay.
My husband and I were laying in bed one night when we heard a noise. Nothing crazy, just a small rustling noise. We argued over who should check it out, decided it was nothing, and then tried to go back to sleep. Heard the noise again. What the hell? You go. No, you go. While we were arguing, in whispers because my daughter's bedroom had an adjoining door, we heard it again near the foot of our bed. I turned on my phone to use as a flashlight and saw my daughter on the floor. She was on all fours, cocked her head, turned her face toward the light at a most disturbing angle, and then fucking skittered on all fours back into her room and went into her bed. My husband and I were absolutely horrified, terrified, pissing ourselves. She was sleepwalking, crawling, and had no recollection. She did creepy sleepwalking things after that for years, usually while we were watching scary movies or lying in bed in the dark. Kids are the worst. So yeah. So apparently this poor lady and her husband has a demon-possessed child.
See, I don't have any of those kind of stories either. And I know that you, especially around this time of the holidays, you'll see lists that'll be like, here's some spooky things that my kids said. And there's some genuinely creepy stuff.
Yeah, right?
That doesn't make me think the kid's possessed. It just makes me think you have a weird-ass kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, my daughter has never said anything remotely close to creepy.
Oh, really? That's surprising.
Not like a genuine creepy.
Not like, I was at school the other day and I watched little Billy get his head cut off.
I watched the red come out of his body.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I tasted his copper. I tasted his inside copper, Daddy.
Wow.
Daddy, his body made Kool-Aid, Daddy.
That's,
yeah, no, it's never... nothing like that's ever happened.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah. All right, so here's a story I have.
Yeah?
This one I got from History.com. So you know it's going to be both spooky
and historical fact.
Historical.
Yeah.
They put these under the guise of being historically true. Whether they are or not, I don't know.
Yeah, the history is... the History Channel does the same kind of thing where it's just like, it's just a dramatization of events. But none of these things really happened. History Channel is garbage.
History Channel really went away from what they were supposed to be about, right? With actual history.
I don't know. I'm just being shitty.
Now History Channel's all like...
Yes.
This one... This one is called The Portrait of Theodosia Burr.
Okay.
By History.com. On December 31st, 1812, the beautiful and vivacious Theodosia Burr, wife of wealthy Governor Joseph Alston of South Carolina, left her husband's plantation and sailed north on the Patriot to visit her beloved father, the famous Aaron Burr, in New York City. In early January, the vessel was accosted off Cape Hatteras by ships of Great Britain, then at war with the United States, but was permitted to proceed on its journey. The Patriot was never seen again, nor, with any certainty, was Theodosia. An angry storm that very night swept the coast of North Carolina. Some say that during the gale, pirates boarded the Patriot, removed all valuables, forced passengers and crew to walk the plank, then sank the ship. But legend persists that Theodosia survived, that she was cast ashore in a small boat onto the Outer Banks, bereft of all possessions except a portrait of herself, and that, with her sanity completely gone, she was thereafter cared for by a banker fisherman and his wife. Now, that's half of the story. I have the other half to go. But this is History.com.
Right.
It talks about, okay, there was a ship and it was lost at sea. And then they go on to say, legend has it that pirates attacked it and some shit.
Yeah.
It's just all totally made up.
Right.
Anyway, the years went by. In 1869, the strange woman became ill, and a doctor from Elizabeth City was called in to attend her. He did what he could, but it was clear that she had not long to live. As he was leaving the sick room, the poor fisherman's wife told the doctor that, as she had no money, he would have to choose something from the house for his pay. When he replied that he would like to have the handsome portrait hanging on the wall, now this is the portrait that the woman took with her,
Right.
the afflicted old woman sprang from her bed. "It is mine! You shall not have it! I am on my way to visit my father in New York, and I am taking this picture of his darling Theodosia." With that, she grabbed the canvas, rushed through the door, ran down the surf, and walked into the ocean. The next day, the portrait washed up on the beach. It is fact, not legend, that the doctor took the picture from Nag's Head to his home in Elizabeth City, that a descendant sold it at an art dealer who in turn sold it to a member of the Burr family, and that it exists to this day.
Ooh.
I mean, none of these sound effects are super relevant to what we just read.
No.
There we go. Oh, I can mix them both and make a witch.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
I picked this one specifically because I love the idea of this sickly old woman on her deathbed suddenly grabbing this portrait, which I picture an old-timey portrait being, like 4 feet tall.
Right. 4
And
feet tall and probably weighing like 60 pounds because of all the wood that's around it.
She's clicking her heels like the grandpa from Willy Wonka. Just running straight out to the ocean.
Right.
To my father, the darling Theodosia.
We have a sound effect for that. Oh.
This episode's going to be garbage, huh?
Yeah, this is going to be awful. I love it.
I probably should have gone with a theme.
Yeah, that's okay. We're reading spooky stories to people.
That's the only spooky story I have. Remington.
Really? I have 2 more.
Yeah, you can go with the spooky stories then.
Okay.
I assumed that the spooky stories would spark a discussion.
Right.
But there's not a whole lot of discussion to be had with our spooky stories so far.
Well, I mean, no, I guess not.
Yeah.
I mean, especially that history one. There's not really. I mean, it's.
Yeah, history.com. Fuck you. You failed us.
Yeah, you failed us. We didn't fail the listeners.
No, I read it well.
Failed us with the content. All right, so let me go ahead with mine. This one's a little longer. And then this should spar some discussion.
Okay.
Spur some discussion.
Spur and spar. It should spur some sparring.
It should spur some
verbal
sparring. Yes. There you go.
So everybody get settled in and listen to Remington's sweet voice as it rubs you across your body.
This one is 911 Calling by IndianaJone.
That kind of dulls it a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it kind of takes you out of it. All right.
I was going through the temple. Trying to steal the golden statue.
Turned out I had 3 grains, too little sand in my bag.
Dun, dun, dun.
Spooky soundboard. This took place when I was about 10 years old. My mom had rather quickly filed for divorce, but she only had a part-time job and made very little money, so finding a place to stay that was affordable and available immediately was tough. A friend of hers told her that she and her husband had a little mobile home that was currently sitting empty, and we could rent it practically for free till we figured out something else. I immediately didn't like the house. Part of this, I'm sure, was due to my parents' abrupt divorce and having my life turned upside down, but it was also just the house itself. We lived in a mountain town, and this mobile home was way up a steep mile-long driveway. Beautiful pine trees surrounded it, but the house itself looked abandoned and out of place. It had 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, so my brother and I shared a room, and my mom took the bedroom with the attached bathroom. It was very 70s home with wood paneling and dated fixtures. There were also areas that showed strange damage, like holes in the wall that were badly patched up. For whatever reason, I immediately refused to use the hallway bathroom. I wouldn't even step into it. My mom never really asked me why or questioned it, but let me use her bathroom. Anyway, my mom was gone a lot trying to find whatever work she could, so I would be home alone a lot after school and on the weekends. Each time I received the 911 call, I was by myself. So this is where we start to get spooky, Brandon.
Okay.
Okay?
I think it's spooky that he had to use his mom's bathroom, because he would have to wade through all of the tampons.
I think this is a she. That
Oh, okay. So she's
who's telling the story, yeah, because her name was IndianaJone. Oh, now you're putting it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I have been really mean lately. All right. My mom always told us not to answer the door, but we should always answer the phone in case it was her. So when the phone rang one afternoon, I figured it would be my mom since no one else really had our number yet. There was a woman on the phone who sounded very concerned. "Hello, this is 911 returning your call. We received your call, but we got disconnected," the woman said. I immediately got a sick feeling. I told her that I did not call 911, and she asked me if there was anyone else in the house who might have called. I said I was home alone, but I started to get really worried that maybe I wasn't. She said she would dispatch the police to our address just to make sure everything was okay. At this point, I was terrified to be in the house, so I sat outside and nervously waited for the police, who showed up in about 15-20 minutes. The officer asked me if I had called 911, and I said no, but they claimed I had called them. The officer just sort of shrugged and said this kind of thing happens sometimes. They say that it can't, that the numbers can't get mixed up, but it happens. He did a cursory glance around the outside of the house and left. I tried to convince myself that the officer was right. It was just a mixed-up phone call, and hopefully whoever did call actually got the help they needed. About a month later, the same thing happened. I got another phone call from 911 saying they had received a phone call from my number. I told them again that it must have been a mistake. The woman on the phone scolded me a bit, telling me that 911 wasn't something to play around with, and I was preventing people from getting help. She didn't dispatch any police this time. Again, I was really worried someone was in the house, so I cautiously checked and made sure all the doors were still locked. I don't know why, but I always kept the hallway bathroom door closed. Maybe because of the eerie feeling I got from it. As I was checking the house, I just knew someone was in that bathroom. I was terrified. Part of me felt like I needed to open the door to check, maybe to prove myself wrong, but I was too afraid, so I just sat in the living room watching that door. It was so quiet in the house that after a few minutes I swore I started to hear faint little sounds coming from inside, like a kind of shuffling noise. I asked my mom to check the bathroom when she got home, and she quickly looked inside. She made me come and look to see that it was empty, and I was letting my imagination get the better of me. The 911 calls happened 3 more times over the coming months, and only when I was home alone. The 4th time, the dispatcher told me I could face criminal charges for what I was doing, and they would contact my parents. I hung up the phone sobbing and terrified. I had that feeling like someone was in the house again, but if I called 911, they probably wouldn't even show up. I felt like the girl who cried wolf, only it wasn't me. It was like somebody was playing a horrible, twisted joke on me. I sat and watched the bathroom door again, hearing noises like someone dragging their fingers across the door. I decided my mom was right, and I was probably just letting my imagination get away. I decided to try and leave the bathroom door open so I wouldn't get freaked out by the thought that someone was in there. Then I got the 5th 911 call. This time, though, after I hung up the phone with the dispatcher, the bathroom door slammed shut. I ran all the way down our steep driveway and found a place to wait till my mom pulled into the drive. When she arrived, she was angry with me for leaving the house, but she saw how upset I was. I think maybe she thought I was acting out due to the stress of the divorce. I refused to be alone in the house again, though, so we worked it out so I would stay later at school or go to a nearby friend's house till she got off work. Not long after this, we got a notice from my mom's friend that we needed to move out of the house because her mom needed a place to stay. I was so grateful to be moving out. I told my mom she needed to tell her friend that something was wrong with the house, but my mom thought it was a ridiculous way to pay back someone's generosity. I moved around a lot the next few years and tried to forget about that house. It wasn't until I was older that I really thought about it. I witnessed an accident and I had to call 911, and the fear and paranoia all came flooding back. I decided to do some research, which honestly I wish I had never done. A few years before we moved in, a woman was killed in that house in some kind of domestic dispute. It was days, though, before she was found, shut up in that bathroom. The end.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is creepy.
Yeah.
So are these stories that people have written specifically saying they're stories?
No, in fact, there was, at the end of the article, it said one of the stories that had won came out to be a made-up one. Mm-hmm. So they...
stripped them of their rights?
Yeah, so they stripped them of their win and replaced it with the next story. So these are all supposed to be true stories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
That's what my heart was doing.
Yeah.
And the soundboard we're completely blind on right now, so I don't remember what the things are.
Right.
So this is a heart coming unchained.
Yeah.
From Tiny Chains. The heart, it's a normal sized heart, but the chains are for a baby dog. And it's ripping those chains off.
Yeah, there you go.
So, if you believe in ghosts, is it a next step to think that ghosts can affect the phone lines? Because what the whole point of that is that the ghost was making the 911 calls, right?
Right.
From her house. And using her voice? Because it seems like they were saying you called.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, if the ghost could manipulate the phone to call 911, or if, the supernatural energy where the woman initially called 911, but then they didn't find her. And to that end, I don't know how that would happen, because if you call 911, they, especially from a landline, they know where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point of 911. That's why they say, don't call 911 from a cell phone, use a landline.
Oh, I didn't know they said that.
Yeah, you want to use a landline if you need to call 911 as much as possible.
Okay.
That way it's easier for a dispatch to be able to locate your position.
That makes sense. Nobody has landlines anymore, though. Really?
Yeah, but like it was, say you're at a business or you're outside of a business. Say if something happens on Grand Central Avenue, you want to go into a business, call 911.
Okay.
Because that'll tell them where it's at.
Yeah.
So remember that, kids. There's your PSA for this Halloween season.
We spooked them and then taught them something.
That's right.
Remington, this one is called Intuitive Ads. There's no... I found this just on creepypasta.com, these stories. There are no names attached to them, so I can't credit whoever... Or no, there are. This one is written by T.L. Bodine.
Okay, now, the creepypasta ones aren't necessarily real, right? Because isn't
They're
creepypasta...
most assuredly not real.
Okay.
Creepypasta is just a spooky story somebody's written.
Gotcha.
This one's called Intuitive Advertising. Intuitive Ads. You see them everywhere now and don't really give it a second thought. Ads that use tracking cookies to track your browsing history or personal profile and provide suggestions that might appeal to you. You know, the way Amazon suggests new books based on what you just read, or when you search for something on Google and then start seeing ads for it on other websites. Like Remington, you see a lot of like Birth of a Nation videos and stuff like that.
I don't even get that reference, so I can't even know if I should be...
Listeners will find that hilarious. Or when you're a 20-something-year-old girl in a relationship on Facebook and suddenly all of your ads are for engagement rings and wedding planners. The point is, we're all so used to this that we don't really pay attention to it anymore. But lately, these targeted ads have been unnervingly on point. Buy plastic sheeting in bulk. Electric chainsaws on sale now. Affordable dry lime, overnight shipping available. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know what technology is driving these changes, but somehow it's like the internet is reading my mind, showing me ads for things that it couldn't possibly know I wanted. I swear to God, I didn't touch a keyboard. I didn't do a search. I was so careful to keep all of my plans and research and ideas offline. How is it doing this? How does it know about the bodies? He's a fucking murderer, Rem.
Oh, damn.
I mean, you kind of see that one coming a mile away.
We need a soundboard. Quick, hit a button.
No! No! No!
That was really accurate.
Yeah. I've memorized 2 of them at this point, and it's the no, 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 and that scream,
Yeah. The heartbeat is the mono down mix one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, let's go ahead and throw in one of my 2 interviews I've done.
Okay.
With a spooky ghost story.
Okay.
So we'll stitch that in now. All right, so I'm talking with Bree, and Bree, you have a spooky story, yeah?
I do. So I work as a private duty nurse for NASA.
Yeah, for the Space Babes.
Yes, for the Space Babes program, which I am a part of, obviously.
Do you work on the Space Babes, or are you yourself a Space Babe?
You know, I'm insulted that you would ask that question, Brandon, because obviously I am a space babe.
I can tell you're insulted. Your antennae are going crazy.
I know. They're just like...
Ooh, buzz, buzz.
They're wiggling around. They're vibrating. They're zapping you.
You are one pissed space babe.
I am.
Okay, so you work as a nurse.
Yes, I work as a private duty nurse, which means that I work for one patient in their home. So I take care of one person that needs nursing care around the clock, so in their house. So I work nights. I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And one night around 2 a.m., I'd say 2 to 4 a.m., I had a spooky experience.
Okay.
My patient's room is adjacent to their bathroom. So I went in their bathroom while my patient was sleeping in their room and turned on the light and was getting some supplies to do something for them. So I had my back turned to the bedroom. As I turned around, I saw a woman standing over my patient, and she was patting my patient with both hands, sort of like she was checking on them. Mm-hmm. She was tall, like maybe 5'9". She was wearing a plaid shirt, and she had gray hair sort of up in a bun. Now, all of this happened super fast.
Did she look ethereal at all?
She looked like an old photograph. It looked like a real person, but she sort of had the quality of, you know, when you're looking in your mom's photo book and you see a picture from like 1982. You know how that it has a special kind of old quality to it.
Yeah.
The cameras do. So she wasn't entirely clear, but it was definitely the image of a person.
She had like a faded out look.
Yes.
Almost. Okay.
Yeah, sort of a faded look. So all of this happened super fast. Turned around, I saw her standing there, and she raised her head up to see me, and she looked surprised, and then she was gone.
Surprised in a scared way, or just surprised?
Surprised in sort of like a disappointed way. Like I had seen her, like, ugh.
Okay.
Like I shouldn't have done that kind of way. Like
yeah.
She shouldn't have allowed me to see her. So this happened, and I was like, okay, that just happened. I didn't have any sort of negative feelings about it. It was just like, oh, I had seen someone.
Yeah.
So the next day, I finished my shift. The next day I come in at 7 p.m. and a family member lives with my patient as well. So I was talking to the family member and I told them what I had seen, and they did not seem surprised at all. And when I had finished telling them what I had seen, they said, "Oh yes, some of the night nurses have seen her. That's the patient's grandmother. And she was very protective of the patient when she was alive. And also, she was a nurse." So she was doing what medical professionals would call an assessment.
Okay.
And she was assessing my patient.
Assessing meaning like
checking.
Okay.
Checking that, like, are they breathing okay, and things like that. That's what she was doing, I think. And so I was not surprised to hear that, because that seemed very reasonable for what I had seen.
Yeah.
That would be who that person was. So I continued. Before this happened, I guess I should say, I had the feeling some nights like someone was watching me,
mm-hmm.
someone was looking at me, but of course there was no one there. After this happened, I continued to have that feeling, but even stronger. So it started to bother me a little bit.
Bother you in what way?
Just this insistent, sort of constant feeling that someone was looking at me.
Yeah.
I mean, that can get kind of annoying. I mean, it didn't feel... I didn't feel frightening. I mean, it might have a little bit, just in the sense that if I mess up, like, what's gonna, what's gonna happen if I don't do my job?
Was it like she was judging you, like judging your work?
It was a little bit like your boss was just kind of watching you, but like not a like bad boss, but just your boss was just kind of watching you,
Yeah.
do your stuff. So one night, in the living room, so I wouldn't bother my patient, I said out loud, "I'm doing the best job that I can. I will, to the best of my ability, make sure that this person is taken care of, and I will not let anything bad happen to them if I can help it." So I said that out loud, and then I have never had that feeling again after I said that.
Wow, okay. Have you seen her since?
No, I only saw her the one time.
You haven't had any feeling that she's there still then?
No.
Do you think that you saying, "I have this," kind of helped her move on, maybe?
I don't think she's moved on. I think she's still there, because other nurses have seen her. I feel like she'll always kind of be around the patient. I don't know that she's there 24/7.
Yeah.
But I feel like she'll always come back and check on him. And maybe she's doing it in a more like kind of sly way that I don't detect. Or she's doing it nights that I'm not there or something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it reassured her, but it probably also let her know that, like, I can feel you here and it's kind of bothering me.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't say that part.
So did you feel, throughout any of this, did you feel fear at all?
No, it was only after I saw her and I continued to feel her, and the feeling of her watching me became more intense. Like it became more obvious to me that she was there and she was watching me, making sure that I was doing my job correctly.
Okay.
Then it started to get, I don't want to use the word annoying, but just kind of maybe oppressive.
Yeah.
Started to feel a little oppressive, and also maybe a little frightening in the sense of if I forget something and something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Or if I don't notice that something's wrong with the patient, that she could perhaps become angry with me. So, maybe just a little bit frightening after I had seen her and I continued to have that feeling. But I never had a feeling like she was there to hurt me or intimidate me or anything like that. It was really just like I had another nurse there, but she was my boss.
Yeah.
That was really just kind of the feeling I had the whole time.
Okay.
And even, like I said, when I saw her, I felt she didn't look frightening. She didn't behave in a frightening way towards me. And also the fact that when she saw me, it was like it was a mistake. She didn't mean to appear to me.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe she just had to take a more corporeal form.
And you said she was a full body, right? This wasn't like a floating torso?
No.
This wasn't Ghostbusters librarian? No. Okay.
No. There was nothing about her that appeared ghostly other than she had that old photograph kind of sense. And she was standing on the opposite side of the bed, so I couldn't see her from the waist down. But there wasn't any, like, spooky ghost tail, like, off to the side.
She didn't, like, vomit anything on you?
No, unfortunately, no.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, maybe next time. I mean, yeah, she didn't, her appearance wasn't frightening in any way.
Yeah.
So that experience did not frighten me. It was just more surprising because even though I have sensed ghosts very strongly and had other ghost experiences, I have never seen one before.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of surprising.
Okay, well, that is certainly a spooky Halloween story.
It certainly is, Brandon.
You got that right, Jim.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so final rapid fire question. What is your favorite Halloween tradition?
I gotta go with pumpkin carving, Brandon. I know it's a pretty basic answer. Mm-hmm. Pumpkin carving or painting. I'm actually really into pumpkin painting right now because it's kind of difficult for me to carve and get the result that I want.
Yeah.
So I like painting pumpkins because you can paint anything on them.
Awesome. Paint some pumpkins, look at some ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bree.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Boy, that was certainly a spooky story, huh, Rim?
It certainly was, Brandon.
I literally have pissed all over the floor. I hope you don't mind, because I'm in studio, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah?
And I love pissing on your floor. It didn't have anything to do with the story.
No, not really.
I really have to pee.
Every time he's here, he pisses on my floor. It's like he's marking his territory or something.
Remington, this story is called We Found Heaven, and It Was Empty. This is by Dogman_35.
Okay.
So this is a true, straight story, straight from the mouth of Dogman. Nearly 3 decades ago, work had begun on a machine that could punch a hole through the fabric of reality. A hole straight through to another reality and beyond. The idea was that, with the right circumstances, we could find a universe with limitless energy. This would make up for the unimaginable amounts of power that the machine took up, and the irreparable damage it would likely do to Earth and the surrounding solar system. But if we found a universe at the very beginning of its creation, we'd have unfathomable amounts of raw, undefined energy that'd last for a couple billion years. And at the same time, scientists would be able to study universes that followed entirely different laws of physics from our own. A few years before I was born, this was accomplished. So this is apparently in an alternate reality that Dogman lives in.
Yeah.
Where this machine has been created already.
Right.
Or
the distant future.
Is it an alternate reality? Or is it the most realistic reality of all, Remington? With this limitless energy expanding technology beyond anything possible before it it's fine. If they don't hear us laughing and having fun, then this episode's just they're gonna have themselves. That'll be the spookiest story of all. I listened to the whole episode.
Ooh.
With this limitless energy expanding technology beyond anything possible before it and solving most of the world's problems, war and struggle had been at an all-time low. Until a group of wow, this guy's just writing a fucking story, huh? Until a group of religious extremists tried to use the machine to prove the existence of God. This started a war, one of the largest uproars in history. Nearly every single religion turned on this small group of 30 people, protected by the United States government. Some were scared that their God would be proven false, and some thought it wrong to try and prove their God real rather than simply having faith. But in the end, there was no war. World leaders would not attack the US, which supplied their power, and the countries who did were often far too small to do any major damage. The machine was set to search for a universe with the coordinates of various holy numbers from the Christian Bible. For weeks it searched, finding nothing. Different combinations inputted every time a search failed. Until a little over 4 months ago, January 19th, 2234. So this is in the future. Is this our future? Is this a glimpse into our future?
I don't know. It could be.
Could be. We found heaven. There was nothing else it could be. It was a reality of endless sky. Nothing but clouds and blue as far as the eye could see, as far any creature, machine, or natural entity could go. The air was breathable, fresh and sweet even, and the light was dim, but not too dark to see. And it was entirely empty. The only thing of note were red lakes. Every cloud had them, and they were incredibly fresh. They were still rippling upon entering the universe. Some, in fact, hadn't even fallen to the ground yet. The first 3 in even claimed they looked humanoid for a second. The damage to our world upon opening a portal is irreparable and devastating, but we now know the damage to the other world is 1,000 times worse.
So wait, what happened? Did they just kill heaven?
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, from what Dogman is teaching us, every time you use this portal and you open a hole to a new dimension, it just kills everything in that dimension.
Oh.
So they finally found heaven. The religious extremists who were searching for heaven finally found it.
Yeah.
And killed everything in heaven.
Okay.
So all the angels. So
and presumably God.
Presumably, yeah. So Dogman tells us that in heaven the air is sweet and breathable. So in this world, in 2234, whenever you die, you still need oxygen in heaven.
Yeah.
You still need. Or would they make heaven? Would heaven be a place where, even though as an angel you don't need oxygen, if a human were to find heaven, the oxygen would be breathable? The air would be?
I don't know. I mean, it's God, so. I mean, maybe he just made it that way because he knew people were looking.
Okay.
But then, I mean, that being said, if God is all-knowing, wouldn't you think that he would know that if they found heaven and that it would destroy it?
Yeah, it kind of goes into the God fallacy.
Yeah.
Of, make a rock too big to carry, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't like this, Dogman. I don't like your story.
Dogman, I really feel like you dropped this.
You really dropped it.
You really dropped the ball.
I mean, I'm going to partially blame Brandon, too.
Why?
Because, I mean, that wasn't really a spooky story, more as it was dramatic.
Heaven. He killed fucking all the angels. That's spooky. Unless you don't find killing angels spooky, and then that's spooky. That you don't find angel death spooky. I think we're in a full Faraday cage of spookness.
A spookaday cage.
My chains, these chains, are made out of spook. You can take that if you want.
You mean these chains, Brandon?
You son of a bitch. Okay, so do you want to read? Because you have another story.
I forgot how long these chains were.
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
Yeah.
I have one more story, and then I have some notes on an actual living monster. Do you want me to go into these notes?
Ooh.
Or do you want to finish up stories, and then I'll do my...
I would say let's break up the stories. Let's go ahead and do your actual living monster, and then we'll finish up with a story or two.
Okay. And then I have another...
That way we kind of break it up a little.
I have another actual ghost story tale to enter to... Oh my god. I'm just not wording. I have another ghost tale to put in here as well. Remington?
Yes?
Have you ever sucked a goat?
Sucked a goat?
Yeah.
No.
You ever sucked one?
No, never sucked a goat.
Then you would not be a chupacabra.
You're right. I wouldn't be a chupacabra.
However, what is your opinion on the chupacabra?
Like, is it real or not?
Yeah.
You see, here's the funny thing about me.
Okay.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe in the possibility of a Bigfoot or a chupacabra.
Okay.
Because we're finding new animals all the time.
Yeah.
So why couldn't there be a chupacabra?
There's a lot of...
Chupacabra, they're all over Mexico. There's your...
Venture Brothers reference.
Your season 1 Venture Brothers.
And I think that was from the pilot episode of Venture Brothers,
yes,
too.
I
So
think
you're
right.
really digging out some old gold there.
What the hell was that?
Doesn't it just run up at the end out of nowhere and he stabs it?
No, it's in Brock's car.
Oh, okay.
It's when he rescues Doc and takes him into the Venture plane, and Doc's getting out of the car and you see the eyes appear and it jumps at him and slashes at his chest, and then Brock stabs him with his Bowie knife, and Doc goes, "What the hell was that?" And he goes, "Chupacabra, they're all over Mexico."
So here's what's strange about the chupacabra. There's no one definition of what it looks like. Like when you describe Bigfoot for me, Remington.
Bigfoot, 7 to 9, maybe 13 feet, depending on who you talk to. Covered in hair.
Yeah, like a big ape man.
Big ape man, upright walking, white walkers. See, I took it in a different direction for you.
You were gonna go a
Brandon.
different
I went to
direction,
the Game of Thrones.
I like it.
Yeah.
I was afraid you were gonna get weird with it. So describe a chupacabra.
Chupacabra, smaller dog-like creature, potentially hairless or with very little hair, larger red glowing eyes, gnarled jaggedy teeth.
So here's what's crazy about this. That description is the newest description. The chupacabra was first described in 1995.
Okay.
And all of this information that I'm talking about here comes from a book by Benjamin Radford called Tracking the Chupacabra.
Okay.
So he went and interviewed the lady who first described what the chupacabra looked like. Her name was Madeline Tolentino.
Okay.
And she lived in Canovanas, Puerto Rico. For the about 5 to 6 months before she gave this eyewitness account, a lot of farmers were reporting that their livestock were being sucked dry. That's where you get the term goat sucker from for chupacabra.
Right.
And I don't mean sucked dry in the good sense. I mean sucked dry in the sense that they were having the blood pulled from them and they were left husks of animals.
Right.
So for a while, the countryside farmers were freaking out. Like, what the fuck's going on? Why are all of our animals dying? And then this coincides with Madeline, who sees the chupacabra at 1 p.m. in the middle of the day. She happens to look out her bay window of her mom's house where she's staying when her mom says, "Hey, Madeline, look out there. There's some crazy stuff going on."
Right.
So this is her description of the chupacabra. So it's been... Do you want me to pause when we do these?
No.
Okay. It's just a little
we're opening
door.
We're now opening the door into the story.
The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
There's a left. There's a stop sign up ahead. It says Chupacabra.
Welcome to Mexico.
It's Puerto Rico.
Welcome
That's
to
the
Puerto
thing.
Rico.
It's Puerto Rico. It's not even Mexico.
It's not even Mexican.
Yeah.
So Brock Sampson was wrong. They're all over Puerto Rico.
It's been kind of picked up in Mexico. It's also been picked up in Europe a little bit.
Okay.
Where people report seeing the chupacabra, but the one that they report is the hairless dog variety.
Oh, okay.
This is her description of the chupacabra. This is the first description anybody had of one of these things.
Okay.
She described its eyes as damp and protruding, running up to its temples and spreading to the sides. So you're talking about kind of alien eyes.
Right.
Like the big gray alien eyes.
Yeah.
Its height was about 4 feet more or less. At the time, it was walking like a human on both legs. Its arms were drawn back in an attack position as though it were a TV monster. So I'm guessing she means kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like your arms back like you're Frankenstein almost.
Yeah, yeah.
It had 3 long, skinny fingers with long arms. Its hair was rather short and close to its body. Rather well combed, in fact.
Huh.
So whatever the chupacabra is...
It grooms itself very well.
It has good grooming. Its toes were very skinny and resembled a goose's foot. And then she finishes by saying, "I even got down on the floor to see if it had genitals." So she's doing the good work for us.
That's right.
It had nothing at all. It was plain and sealed. She also noted a row of distinctive spikes on its back.
Okay.
Now here I have a picture for you, Remington. This is going to be... We're going to put on our site.
Yeah, it'll
so
be on our site in the description. So if you're listening on YouTube, there will be a link over to the website article.
Yeah. And Benjamin Radford, that I took all this information from, like I said, wrote the book Tracking the Chupacabra, came out in 2011. Probably have a link to that on Amazon. I don't know, so you can buy it or whatever.
Right.
It's an interesting book. He drew a picture of how she described the Chupacabra because he met her again in like 2010 before this book came out to ask her and to kind of check for any discrepancies in her story.
Right.
So he drew this picture and she said that's the most accurate picture of the Chupacabra that she had seen. So can you describe what it looks like here, Rem, for the listeners?
Yeah, it looks like if I were really reaching for the cover-up community here, it looks like a gray alien. It looks like a hybrid of some sort, like it was an experiment by the Greys, and they mixed maybe a porcupine or perhaps some sort of a dog or both with DNA from a Grey.
And some of the notes on the picture say 4 to 5 feet tall, big slanted red eyes, small holes for nostrils, lipless mouth, no ears, only auditive holes. He doesn't say anything about the wanger, so I'm guessing he didn't think to put that in.
Right.
Body covered by fine gray fur with darker spots, strong feet with claws.
Right.
So there's a couple different theories on what the Chupacabra could be.
Okay.
For this, I went to a site called exemplar.com.
Okay.
That it uses Benjamin Radford's book as a jumping off point, but Benjamin Radford concludes with saying she's not right, and here's why. Here's what it actually is.
Okay.
I don't want to get into that just for the sake of kind of shitting on the idea and it's less scary.
Right.
But needless to say...
Well, I mean, it's like you said, if anybody's interested in reading the story and seeing what his conclusion was, they can probably find a link down in the show notes there.
Yeah. So this is from exemplar.com, and these are their 3 arguments about what the Chupacabra could be.
Okay.
And I'm going to read these verbatim, not out of laziness, but because I think they worded it beautifully.
Okay.
Option 1, it could have been a mistake. Perhaps the Chupacabra is an experiment in genetic engineering gone wrong that somehow got loose.
Kind of my thought there.
Exactly. One could only imagine what they were trying to create or what they had start out with.
Is that...
Yeah, we'll go ahead and throw a sick in here now for this whole thing, because there's going to be a couple of sicks.
Okay. I don't know what sick actually stands for. I've seen it.
I don't know if it stands for something, but it's like whenever an editor is quoting somebody and the person says something wrong or has a typo, the editor throws in sick to say like, hey, we know this is a fuck up. This was their fuck up and we're quoting them directly.
Okay, gotcha.
Part of the thing with the Chupacabra, before I go on with them talking about experiments and stuff, is this was near the El Yunque forest in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And a lot of conspiracy theorists believe that there is a secret government base there that is doing genetic experiments.
Gotcha. Okay.
It also factors into the idea that the Chupacabra is an alien.
Yeah.
Also escaping from the El Yunque base.
Right.
Theory 2, it could be a weapon. Perhaps the government intended to unleash a horde of Chupacabras into enemy countries in order to destroy their food supplies, or perhaps just to rattle their nerves. Maybe there are thousands of Chupacabras hidden somewhere for this purpose. Or, most chillingly, perhaps they are meant to prey on humans and win a war without putting soldiers in harm's way. So the government sat and just bred a whole bunch of Chupacabras. But if they're made to prey on humans without putting soldiers in harm's way,
right,
then their idea is that when the U.S. goes to war, with Puerto Rico being a U.S. territory,
right,
we would go to war with, say, an Iraq or an Iran or wherever we're at war with now.
Yeah.
And they send their ground troops, and we just release, drop bomb a shit ton of...
Release the Chupacabra!
But then how are we supposed to take and hold land?
Right. Yeah.
Unless we teach the Chupacabras how to set up puppet governments.
Yeah. Or do they have a little chip implanted in them that once they take everybody else out, then you just push the chip and it deactivates them? I
don't have a whole lot of faith if they can't even fucking wrangle in one.
Yeah, right?
If there's a Puerto Rican lady who's looking at its genitals.
Furthermore, why hasn't the Chupacabra attacked a human being if they're made to attack humans? I mean, seems like all the things that I've ever seen, they're eating livestock or chickens or goats or...
I chose in my notes to just focus on this one lady's account because she's considered the first-hand account of seeing the Chupacabra.
Right.
There are a billion Chupacabra sightings. There are people who say they were attacked by a Chupacabra, they fought one off, but they're all hearsay. This one actually seems legitimate in the sense that she was in the newspaper and stuff.
Right.
It wasn't this myth that she was feeding into. This was just her saying, hey, I saw this crazy thing.
Yeah.
Theory 3, the most cynical of the conspiracy theorists believe the Chupacabra may have been released on purpose in order to test its effectiveness. Hopefully this is not the case, as it would have been a tremendous gamble to ensure the beast would only carry out its intended mission without harming any humans. So that's not Theory 3, that's all part of Theory 2.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like
it was spaced like it was Theory 3. Theory 3 is that it was summoned by cultists.
Like from hell?
Yes. That people say that they have walked through the El Yunque forest and seen robed cultists performing rituals, and that they have learned the ritual that they themselves could summon a Chupacabra with enough time. And I guess enough robes?
Yeah. Robes are a very important part of evil summonry.
Get me the demonic Tailor. Okay, Remington. I'm making a movie.
Okay.
I've got a demonic tailor. Okay, Remington, if you could just kind of give me this demonic tailor character. Now, we really don't have a thumb on what he's going to be. Okay. So you can just, any direction, just throw it at us, demonic tailor. Let's see what you got.
Like, you want me to be the character?
Yeah, you're coming in to audition for this movie.
Okay.
Or stage production.
See, I mean, I think the character that I would bring forward
would be a stereotypical gay man, right?
Well, not even gay, but a stereotypical tailor.
Yeah.
Like, kind of dressed to the nines. He's got like a button-up little vest. You know, he's wearing a white button-up shirt, but he's got his sleeves rolled up. He's got
the dude from what was that show that was all about gay guys improving your life?
I don't know.
There was a show specifically where it was a group of gay men who would improve your life by helping you dress better. And one of them was a tailor. He kind of looked like Anderson Cooper. He was like an old gray fox, and he was a very...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Exactly. That's who I think of when I think of tailors every time. I don't think of like, hello, like Rip Taylor gay man. I think of like a very distinguished... So a demonic tailor would be the same thing, except maybe he would have a demon tail?
I mean...
I guess?
I mean, the tailor doesn't have to be from hell, does he?
No.
Like, he's only demonic in that he specializes in tailoring robes for dark rituals, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he could just be an average guy.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
He's actually a Catholic.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, that would be the only way that he'd be able to protect himself from the evils in which he brings to the world.
I don't appreciate you assuming my religion.
Yeah. See, there
That's
you go.
Demonic tailor.
That would be the demonic tailor. I mean, if you're modeling after that gentleman.
Just a very serious voice.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is.
Now let's get you into some velour.
Right?
I assume the robes would be made out of velour.
No! No! No!
Tim Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
That's what his name is.
So, yeah, that's really what I have on the Chupacabra. I have, maybe next episode we'll continue on and I'll kind of give some of the refuting evidence. Because it is pretty funny.
Okay.
What it actually is.
Okay.
But I want to leave everybody with some tingles down their spines.
Yeah.
So you want to go ahead and hit up your story?
Yeah.
Then I'll read my story, and then we'll fucking put a noose on this thing and shove it out the window.
Well, we'll have to stitch in the other audio clip.
Do you want? Let's just go ahead and stitch it in here then.
Yeah, we'll stitch it in here.
Frankenstein style. Stitch it in.
Yes, we'll get it dialed in and then put lightning to it right now.
Okay, I'm back with Evie, who is going to tell me a terrifying tale. Evie, you saw a ghost?
Yes, I did.
Okay, first, Evie, how old are you?
I am 12.
Have you believed in ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts?
Not particularly. I did when I was younger, and I sort of believe in them now, but I usually don't think about it much.
Okay. Do ghosts... Well, I guess tell the story first, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Oh, okay.
So what happened?
So, my mom had bought this house that apparently was built in the 1950s, and the only family before us had lived there, and I messed it up. Okay.
So there was one family that lived there before you guys moved in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the father of that family had lived there until he died. So, I was around maybe 5 or 6, and I was still a little kid, afraid of the dark, and so I usually slept with my mom.
Yeah.
So I was sleeping with my mom one night, and I had the door cracked open, so I could be able to have light in the room, and I wouldn't be scared. So, as the door was cracked open, there was a light in the other room.
Okay, and you're still in your mom's room at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm still in my mom's room, and I'm not able to get to sleep, so I'm just looking at the cracked door, and there's this beam of light that is always on the ceiling when the door is cracked, right? When there's a light on in the other room.
Yeah.
And I saw a man walk from left to right across the beam of light on the ceiling.
Like you saw him walk through the crack in the door? Like, he didn't walk through the door, but you saw through the crack in the door a man pass through the light?
Yes.
Okay. Was this like a pole man? Like...
No, I was only able to see him from the waist up. That's probably because we had this desk outside of the door that had was blocking some of the light.
Okay. That sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty scary at first, but the more I thought about it, the more comfortable I became with it, because I wasn't really worried. I had heard a lot of stories of spirits being spotted, but I have never heard any stories of people being harmed by them.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of okay with it. Just like, oh, cool, I saw a ghost.
So is that something you've carried with you since you saw it at 5? Like, did that make you believe in ghosts, or do you think you actually saw a ghost, or you just imagined it, or what?
I do think that I saw a ghost, because now that I'm hearing stories about that place where we used to live, it sort of sparked my little... with the... Yes.
All right, good.
It sparked my interest in ghosts, and it sort of made me believe in them for a while. And I do believe that I did see a ghost.
Okay.
I don't think it was my mind playing tricks in the dark, because usually that stuff happens in the dark and not in the light.
And you know that you were awake?
Yes, I was definitely awake. I remember that because I remember being awake. That's great.
It seems weird that you didn't feel scared by it, because I know when I was 5, had I seen a ghost, I would have peed. Legitimately just would have urinated, yeah.
Well, I've definitely had my fair share of those times, but...
Did it have just like a calming presence? Do you remember that?
He didn't seem very hostile. He just looked like he was taking a nice stroll through our house in the middle of the night.
So he just kind of did like, sup, as he walked by?
Yeah, just like, what up, homie? How's it going?
I'm a ghost. I'm ghosted. Don't pee. I was just at Brandon's house and he peed everywhere. Was there something with shoes, or was that part of the ghost that you saw?
Yeah, there was a few years later, I was around 7. I had woken up in the middle of the night to go, like, pee or something, and I have this thing, I don't know if this is a common thing, but I like to go and check the time whenever I wake up in the middle of the night, so I know how much time of sleep I have left.
Yeah.
And so I was going out into the living room, because that was the only clock we had at the moment, and I was looking at the time. It was around midnight-ish, maybe 12:29-ish, and...
It's pretty specific.
Yeah, I remember this in very vivid detail, but I remember out of the corner of my eye, I saw a pair of shoes, just normal, maybe 1950-ish dress shoes out of the corner of my eye, and when I look over, there was nothing there.
So you saw them out of the corner of your eye, and then when you turned, they weren't there?
Yeah. I had I can't remember too much about the process of looking over, but maybe I looked away or something.
Yeah. And
then they disappeared, but...
Did you remember the ghost that you'd seen earlier, a few years earlier? Or did you really think about it when you saw the shoes?
I never really connected the two sightings until very recently. Actually, I had never really thought that might be the same person, but now that I think about it, it probably was.
Okay. Alright, well that was certainly a terrifying tale, Evie.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. And real quick, what is your favorite Halloween tradition? Or Halloween thing that you do?
Well, gotta prank the kiddos.
Pranking the kiddos?
Yeah.
Well, right back when you get back from your job at the plant, making airplane parts for the war efforts?
Yeah.
Gotta prank the kiddos. Alright. Thanks for coming on, Evie.
No problem.
Boy.
It's not alive anymore!
There you go. It's dead now.
It's dead.
Or at least, well, the audio from the clip.
It's the audio's dead.
Yes.
Oh. I hear you have another spooky story. God, okay. Drinking game, take a shot every time I say the word spooky.
There you go.
Congratulations, you're dead now.
Yeah. So,
I came in thinking I'm going to say spooky a lot because it's funny, and now I can't stop, and I'm sorry.
So now you have to go back and re-listen to the whole episode and drink every time Brandon says
spooky.
Spooky.
And what makes it even spookier for you is if you share this episode with your friends before you re-listen.
That's right.
You kind of got more the SNL announcer there. That's right.
Wait, how does the SNL thing start? It's Saturday Night Live featuring Brandon Full.
I was trying to do my Saturday Night Live like.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it doesn't translate very well, and
that's fine. Just tell people how hilarious I am.
It's so funny, guys. You
guys are missing this.
It's so good. It's the most beautiful and funny thing that I've ever. It's okay. It's getting a little weird.
I was licking things.
Yeah,
I started licking,
just licking fingertips. Not even mine. It was weird.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll head back to the beginning, and before we even play the intro music, I'll let people know that they should drink.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Whenever Brandon says the word spooky, take a drink.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're going to go through probably a case of beer doing that.
Yeah, easily.
And I'm not going to start saying spooky just to kill you now.
No.
But what if I did? Oh my God. If fucking somebody died drinking because of every time I said spooky.
Yeah.
We'd be a pretty notorious podcast, right?
Yeah.
That'd be good for brand?
I mean, they say any publicity is good publicity, right?
Yeah.
Although they would probably haunt us. So we'd have a drunk ghost haunting us.
Could we get them on the podcast?
Listen here, assholes. You killed me with your spooky drinking game. You know how hard it is to do a drunk ghost impression?
I feel pretty excited about the new Avengers movie, the direction it's taking. Thanks, drunk ghost.
Yeah, you're a good addition to this podcast.
I think maybe we might have a new character on our hands, Remington.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you The Cat's Paw by DownDanny. When this happened, I was living in a small house with my boyfriend, now my husband, and our 2 cats. I was especially close with our male cat, my baby. My boyfriend always joked that he followed me around like a little dog. He was always happy to see me, always wanted to cuddle me, and would even lick my hair when I was upset. I never loved a cat so much. My boyfriend was out of town for most of the week for work. I had stayed late at work myself this particular night, so it was dark by the time my train pulled into the local station. I usually walked home since it was such a quiet, safe place and only about a 20-minute walk. Part of the walk took me past a church with a small graveyard, the edge of the graveyard sort of overlooking the road. I'd never been particularly afraid of cemeteries, always found them to be rather peaceful, but that night the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I hurried past, but still sort of felt as if I was being followed. I kept checking over my shoulder and had my cell phone gripped in my hand, but I didn't see anything. I yelled at myself a little for being so stupid and scaring myself. I got home, was grateful for the lights, and locked the door. My boy cat was at the door to greet me. I thought he might want to go out into the yard. He wasn't really an outdoor cat, but he would wander around the yard with me watching him. He usually begged to go outside with me, but this time, when I went to unlock the door, he gave me a strange look and didn't seem to want to go out. I left the door locked and turned on the TV to try and calm down. My baby stuck with me all night. He seemed more skittish than usual. Anytime there was a loud noise on TV, or a sister cat or I moved, he would half jump and look around wide-eyed. At bedtime, both cats followed me upstairs. By now, my girl cat was acting jumpy too. I had finished in the bathroom and was standing on the landing at the top of the stairs, about to go into the bedroom. I noticed my boy cat staring up at the ceiling, so I looked up. Above the landing was the door to the attic. Suddenly, there was a loud scraping noise like metal being dragged along the attic floor. I ran down the stairs and both cats instinctively followed. I hit the lights on downstairs. I could still hear the noise, now with a rattling sound. I was trying to think what to do. My cat was beside me looking up at me. He had a funny look on his face, as if he was concentrating hard. He opened his mouth. He said, "Out!" My boyfriend and I had joked before that his meows sometimes sounded like actual words, but this was so clearly the word "out." It was still cat-like, like what I imagine a cat accent would sound like if they spoke English, but it was just so clearly the word "out" that I couldn't believe it. I opened the door, scooping his sister into my arms as she was freaking out by now, and we all went out. I closed the door behind us, but I really had no idea what to do, as it was all so weird and I didn't want to seem like a crazy person. I walked towards the front fence carrying the one cat. My baby wasn't following now, but he had his back to us while he stared at the front door. And then he just lost it. I've never seen a cat behave as he did. He was screeching, twisting his whole body around while he slashed at the air. I put my other cat down and tried to go to him, but he turned around, hissed at me, and gave me a slashing motion like he wanted me to stay back. This carried on for a whole minute while he jumped around and slammed into the ground, and it looked like he was really getting hurt. I was in tears as I didn't know how to help him, and just as suddenly as it started, he stopped. He stared off into the distance a few seconds, then started calmly washing his paws. Eventually, he came over and rubbed himself against my leg. About a month later, I noticed he was bleeding from his paw. I took him to the vet, who said he probably got his claw stuck in something and tore the skin getting free. She said it should heal itself, but after another week, it hadn't, so he had to have stitches. Almost exactly a year later, he started bleeding from his paw again. They ran tests on him, but everything came back normal, and all they could do was stitch it up again. The bleeding paw continued off and on for another couple of years, although it never seemed to get in the way of his being a happy, fun-loving cat. Unfortunately, during another round of testing this year, they found cancer, and though he was doing well, probably doesn't have long. I still have no idea what actually happened that night, but it does feel as if he saved me and his sister from something. Sometimes I wonder if the cancer is related. Whatever it all means, he is a wonderful, brave cat, and I will always love him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the cat was fighting off some sort of spirit or something?
Yeah, seems that way.
And the spirit was trying to overtake her?
Yeah.
When it slashed at her?
No, I think the cat was just giving a warning to stay back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So does the cat know how to talk?
No, it's just like, we had a cat named Pussy.
Okay.
Pussy knew how to say out. She knew how to say milk. You could tell it in her inflection. So whenever she wanted milk, she would meow out, milk. And if she wanted out, it would be very distinctly, meow. So
yeah,
they learn the words and try to mimic them. I firmly believe that cats know how to mimic at least certain sounds.
I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's reinforced enough, you could get it to understand those two words. Little one knows what out means, and he'll meout at the door.
I just want a ringtone of you going meout,
meout,
milk,
meow,
meout,
meow,
feed me,
milk,
feed me, meow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my final story here, and this is a short but sweet story.
Okay.
This one is uncredited, and this one is called A Normal Restaurant.
Okay.
I smiled as the waiter came up to me. I heard some stories about this restaurant being disturbing, but everything was fine. Until this point. I felt my grin slip off my face as I heard her utter a string of forbidden words. I'm sorry, sir. We're all out of garlic bread. Finn.
That may have been the most terrifying story yet.
No! Hit them all. Just hit them all. This is how we end the spooky story. We're out of garlic bread. I'm sorry, sir. It's time for no garlic bread. In my cauldron, my heart is beating so fast with this clock. It's a werewolf now. He tells you too that there's no garlic bread. That's right.
It's the devil!
You were in hell the whole time. Much like the listeners and all of us.
Yep.
We're all in hell all the time.
So I think that wraps up our Halloween episode.
I think so.
Sorry if it was a little all over the place, but I think it was good.
I think it was fun.
I hope you enjoyed the stories. I hope we did a good job telling them to you.
You didn't hear this, Remington, because you haven't actually listened to my interviews about the spooky ghost stories yet.
Right.
I asked them both, and I'll ask you, favorite Halloween tradition?
Favorite Halloween tradition? I love handing out candy and eating whatever's left.
So candy. What it boils down to.
Yes.
Okay.
I love candy.
Fair enough. I like pumpkin carving. That's my thing.
You know,
I'm super grossed out by pumpkin guts, like really, really, really.
Oh, really?
grossed out. Oh, I can barely touch them. It just super grosses me out. But once they're cleaned out, I like the actual.
You wimp.
It's texture stuff. My daughter makes slime because slime's super popular now with kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a total pussy about it because she's like, Dad, do you want to feel this slime? Because she knows it grosses me out.
You're like, no.
Seriously, last weekend she had this giant Ziploc bag of slime she'd made, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, do you want to touch this slime?"
You just need to put your hand inside of it and just leave it.
I've touched slime. I just prefer not to.
And just slowly move your fingers around.
It's gross and it gets everywhere. I told her,
put it in and slowly move your fingers around until you get used to it.
Yeah,
that's how you beat it, Brandon.
Well, what I told her is I was like, "Look, I love you, and I'm proud of you for learning how to make slime and learning this science.
But I swear to God, if you ever bring this around me again, I will fucking murder you.
Do you know how much I pay a goddamn rent for you to bring this shit into my house?" And threw it outside.
Yeah.
Make slime out of garbage.
Yeah. And then it became sentient and started eating all the neighbors.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that's a little slice of my life right there.
I had something else I was going to say, and now I don't remember what it was. I remembered what I was going to say. I like carving pumpkins too. I don't think I'm doing one this year. Obviously, there's 6 days to Halloween. But the last pumpkin that I carved was my Sauron.
Yeah.
The Eye of Sauron pumpkin. And that was the first time that I had ever done one of those kinds of pumpkins where it's not cut all the way through, where you use light to show a scene. And that was a lot of fun to do. If you go over to my YouTube, my personal YouTube channel, you just type in search V Stray Dog Strut V, which that was my old AIM name.
Yeah.
Stray Dog Strut was an episode of Cowboy Bebop, and then the two V's partially I used because somebody had already taken Stray Dog Strut and I didn't want to follow it up with a string of numbers.
Yeah.
But also partially because the V's back in the day you would use as little vampire teeth.
Oh yeah, and you were into vampires for a while.
Yeah, I was.
Into being a vampire.
Yeah. I drank a lot of blood back in the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were a womanizer.
Yeah.
Womanizer. You're a womanizer.
Thank you, Brandon. Idiot.
It's a song, Remington.
I know.
Maybe you've heard of them.
Yeah, I have. Jeez. But anyway, I had a lot of fun making that pumpkin. You can watch a time lapse.
Yeah, I actually sat down and watched the whole video.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was interesting. I put it on. I was doing something else. This was last Halloween because you shared it with me.
Yeah.
I was doing something else, so I had it on in the background. But yeah, I still watched the whole thing.
Yeah, make sure to comment on the little things that I do with my face.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think that wraps us up, right?
I think so, yeah.
So
much like a mummy, this episode's been wrapped up and cursed.
So if you have any questions or comments or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres. Email us at duelingogres@gmail.com or leave a comment on the Facebook page just like these nice people.
The comments we have this week are only one from Viscount Terry W. Irvin II, which is really all we need. If it comes down to it, we only get one comment. The Viscount Terry W. Irvin commenting, I'm perfectly fine with. He had a photo that he found of NASA, and I don't understand what this photo is. I think because I don't ever remember what we talked about in the episode. Can you tell me what the context for this is, Remington? Is it Space Alcatraz? Is it Space Prison? We talked about moon bases. Maybe it's a moon base.
Maybe it's a moon base.
Terry, if you want to clarify, because I'm not 100% sure.
I was looking at it on my phone and now looking at it on your computer. Yeah, I still don't. Although the Photoshop job is a really good job.
Yeah, it looks like a prison.
Yeah.
He said, I thought Brandon Full working at NASA would have access to this rare moon landing photo. Of course, he may have had to sign some sort of non-disclosure agreement for his high-level access to information.
Right.
I'm actually not allowed to look at NASA pictures anymore. I lost my access because I kept drawing sunglasses and joints on the astronauts. And then he also said, I think it was cool that you went back and shouted out people who posted comments on the episode previous to the previous episode. Yeah, we try to. Sometimes we forget if somebody comments late or after we record, or Facebook just is shitty sometimes, but we try to. So if you comment and we didn't shout out for whatever reason, comment again and say, hey, you didn't shout out my last comment. You can do that. We won't judge you for it.
You can. Larry commented over on Twitter.
Oh, okay. We were supposed to come up with a title for Larry.
We were. So you think of that while I read off the Twitter thing. It's very short, so you don't have much time.
Crap. Okay. Spooky.
I think you guys are onto something, I think is what he actually meant to say. He said into something, which is a little more kinky, but Larry's kind of like that. I think you guys are onto something with your Bear Way to Heaven.
Exactly. I do want to mention, too, with Bear Way to Heaven, I had mentioned that I lost my notes, I think.
Yeah.
I found my notes somehow, and there was only one. There were a lot of crap that I left out, but there was one that I feel like could have had some good talking points to it.
Yeah.
But it's a missed opportunity now, and that was Saturday Night Beaver.
I got it.
It was about a man who turns into a beaver only on Saturdays.
Yeah. I mean, he said that we're on to something with Bear Way to Heaven. I said that I can't wait until the idea bears fruit. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did there.
And then instead of replying back, you just see you've been blocked from messaging this user.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we have? Larry writes for us. He interacts with us. He's the only one in our Discord. Could he be the discordant?
Larry the discordant? Despondent?
Why despondent?
No, I don't know. I don't like either of them. They sound negative. I don't want to be negative.
Negative Larry.
No.
Nega Larry.
Ooh. Now I do kind of like Nega Larry.
Nega Larry?
Like he's Nega Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go tentatively Nega Larry?
Tentative.
Okay.
Yes. Definitely tentatively. I like saying that word tentatively.
It's fun to say.
It is.
Tentatively.
Everybody say it along with us. Tentatively.
Tentatively. Say it out loud just once.
Tentatively.
No matter where you are, say it.
Tentatively.
Because, just grab life by the heart, unchain it, and say it right now. Subway, middle of the road, tentatively.
Tentatively.
Thank you.
We're stupid. Everything we do is stupid.
Yeah, we're all dumb.
Yeah. Actually, over on Instagram, since I also share the episodes out on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Mallory, one of our old writers who hates us anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she listens anymore, so it's okay to make jokes.
Yeah, it's fine.
She said on episode 128, I had a picture of the Porg. It was episode 128, the Porgs, all the Porg stuff, Star Wars. She said that thing creeps her out.
Yeah, it is a little creepy.
Yeah, kind of.
You just can't throw giant eyes on something to make it adorable.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
Get your shit together.
Like Disney knows anything about making adorable characters.
Come on, Morty, Disney. Just get your shit together. So that's it for the shout-outs. It looks like I thought there was another one, but I guess there wasn't. Like to give another thank you again for everybody who got us up to and over 300 likes. We are now sitting at like 304, I think.
Yeah.
So the next goal is 500. When we reach 300, I released our new Chibi Ogre shirt. Mm-hmm. It's totes adorbs.
Yeah, I love it.
Arted out by, that's what I call things, people who do art. I just say that they arted it.
Arted out?
Yeah,
okay.
Just arted it.
I like it. I can get behind it.
Arted out by Rebecca Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, as an added bonus, released My Other Trebuchet is a Trebuchet shirt.
Yeah, and that one I love because it came out of nowhere. Yeah. I had no idea. You just messaged me and said, hey, look what's available now.
Yeah, I was like, BT dubs. I decided to just go ahead and release that. Because I had made that graphic like a year ago.
Yeah.
Easily. It's from a really old episode, too.
I think the episode's newer than you think it is.
I think
within the last, year.
Well, I remember that it was when I first started playing around with Adobe Spark, which if you're into designing real quick graphics and stuff like that, try Adobe Spark. I think it's free to use. You just have to set up an account, but you can make real short videos or post pictures. You can upload your own pictures, or you can use stock images that are free to use.
Yeah.
And it's real quick and easy. It makes a sharp looking thing. I use it for most of our thumbnail pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it makes me super duper happy that we got past 300. That was really the goal. And I mean, you guys are great for sharing and stuff. I hate to get all ass kissy every time, but it means a lot. It means a lot.
I was going to say, you're going to start crying, Brandon?
No, I was repeating myself so I could hit that button.
Ah, okay.
Although I don't know why you would taunt me for crying. There's nothing wrong with a man crying.
I never said that there was.
Well, you said it in an angry way. You gonna start crying, Brandon?
That's because I'm a douche.
Yeah, that's true. You just kind of equally are a douche.
To most people and things.
Yeah.
I think it was episode 97.
That's a good episode in general.
Yeah.
Talking about Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Or Ninja Gaiden and all those.
Yep. That's the one it was from, I think.
So go back and listen to episode 97 and then buy My Other Trebuchet is a Trebuchet shirt.
Yeah, there you go. So, of course, the shirts help us keep things up and running, and you get to show off your love for your favorite podcasters.
Yeah, it's a good mutually beneficial thing because we get a cut of it. You get a shirt to hide your shame. Everybody wins.
Jesus. Or to deter from your beauty.
Yeah.
So you're not constantly being hit on.
You go out shirtless all the time and everybody's just like, damn, it's like you're being swamped zombie apocalypse style. And
you're
you
an
need to
Adonis.
cover up your six-pack
Yeah.
or whatever.
You are an Adonis in our eyes.
Every one of you.
Or a Aphrodite. Yeah.
Aphrodonus. Even Aphrodonus. Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying shit.
You're just saying
Buy our
words.
shirts. I don't know. I'll say whatever they want.
Of course, if you don't want to pull the trigger on a shirt, you could either support us by going to audibletrial.com/duelingogres, or you can go over to Humble Bundle, click on the links for Humble Bundle, and
through our site, right?
Through our site. If you purchase anything through Humble Bundle that looks interesting to you after clicking through our site to one of their links, you'll have the option to, in most cases, give us a little cut as well.
Yeah.
Or give some to charity, which I am okay with either.
Yeah.
Of course, the Dueling Ogres charity is specifically for us. I will not lie to you about that.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, it helps to feed my cats.
You have a shit ton of cats. Remington has a shit ton
I
of
have
cats.
5 cats. You guys know how, and a dog now. Do you know how expensive cat food and shit is? Or litter?
I imagine. It's a lot of money.
Did you know that for every cat that you have, you're supposed to have a litter box plus 1?
Plus 1?
Yes. So if you have...
So you're supposed to have...
So if you... Well, not like every specific cat. So like for every cat that you have, I have 5 cats.
Mm-hmm.
I should have 5 litter boxes plus 1.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So there should be 6 litter boxes in the house.
Oh
and there
my
is,
God.
actually.
Do you just have them like all lined up in a row in your basement?
No. There's one upstairs in Ginger's room. There's one downstairs in the dining room. You know, because my favorite thing to do is to have cats pooping while I eat, which happens a lot. Because they never want to fucking poop until it's time for us to eat.
I'm just seeing you like giving the side eye to a cat as you're eating like a can of...
Don't you
You're
do
eating
it.
beans out of a can. Just like,
Don't you
son
do
of a
it.
bitch.
Yeah. And then 4 downstairs. So,
Damn.
yeah. But, I mean, most of the time our house doesn't smell like cat pee or poop. So,
Yeah, I never really smell it.
yeah. I'm okay with it. So
that's what buying shirts helps support, is Remington to buy more
cat
litter
food
boxes.
and litter boxes and litter.
Your
Yeah.
goal is to just cover an entire floor with litter boxes.
Oh my God.
So then you can get more cats.
The whole basement, just do it
Just
all
make
in
it
litter.
a giant litter box.
Yeah.
You could make a Roomba have tank treads so it could clean up the litter box.
I mean, I would feel like it was more like a Buddhist garden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just go down with the rake and I'm making beautiful designs and it's very cathartic and relaxing.
So-
and then I just run into poops every once in a while.
Would you call it a Buddha's garden?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't.
It's a missed opportunity, Remington. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So, right. Wrapping up the episode. Sorry, we got a little...
Yeah.
we got a little
mini
sidetracked
episode
there.
in
Yeah.
there.
Make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com for new shows and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. I think you probably even get... If you sign up on the email list, whenever we get more shirts going and even... the ones that we have now, I might be doing some like holiday deals where you can get them for a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out on it. I'll have to figure out how to do it, but I know there's a way to do it. Okay. So there's that. And finally, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Google Play, whatever, Google Podcast, whatever they have, or nearly anywhere else you can find a podcast.
Really hammer it home.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Spooky podcast.
Spooky, 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 spooky.
Oh no, you did. You killed them. So until next week, ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night.
Ooh, spooky. Remington, I told you to get that goddamn werewolf out of here till we're done recording.
I'm sorry. He's really hungry.
I just wanted to be on a podcast. I listen to you guys all the time.
He brought a friend.
This is my,
The werewolf, that's your drug dealer. I've seen him on the corner before. No, whoa, man, put the gun down. I'm not, no.
I don't have a gun noise.
No, man, put the chains down. Okay, I need to go.
No! No! No!
It's fine, dude. I'll be back next time.
Okay. Good. Three, two, one, recording. And I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to this calculated as that. Touch myself with this. Got a soundboard here. Got a little soundboard here.
No! No!
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, you're not going to clap with me? Yay!
I did it.
That's weird.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I can do that as effectively.
You gotta look horrified, like your body's doing it like you can control. No!
Help!
It's happening to me too!
It's ridiculous.
Is it gonna make that boop noise every time I stop?
It might. I don't know. Let me click over on this. Try it again. No. As long as it's on that, it won't.
Right, cool, alright.
Right, very good then.
Good, perfect.
Wonderful, awesome, stupendous.
I'm ready.
Right. The officer just short of shrugged. The officer just short of short of shrugged.
This is gonna make
short of shrugged.
This is gonna make great outtakes though.
Yeah, it's gonna make great editing, that's for sure.
Remington, have you ever sucked a goat? Shit. You're gonna have to hit it again or the editing's gonna be all wrong.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead. Thank you, Remington. Why is this not just...
No!
My boyfriend and I joked about shit. So until next week, ogres. Hold on.